They told me I couldn't step outside my own house after 8 p.m. I thought they were joking. They weren't. And when I walked out to my mailbox at 8:15, 3 HOA board members were waiting for me in the dark. What happened next landed all of us in handcuffs, destroyed my entire neighborhood, and exposed a scheme so corrupt that even the police couldn't believe it. But here's the thing, I have it all on camera. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why my HOA president is now facing felony charges, and why I'm about to become a very wealthy man. This is insane. Let me explain. My name is Marcus Chen, I'm 34, and I bought my dream home in Riverside Estates exactly 14 months ago. I need you to understand something first. I'm not the type of person who looks for trouble. I'm a software engineer. I work from home. I keep to myself. My idea of a wild Friday night is ordering Thai food and binging a new series. When I bought my house in Riverside Estates, I knew there was an HOA. I read through the bylaws. Standard stuff: keep your lawn maintained, no wild paint colors, quiet hours after 10 p.m. Nothing seemed unreasonable. The neighborhood was beautiful. Tree-lined streets, well-maintained homes, friendly neighbors. My house was a charming 3-bedroom craftsman with a small front yard. I loved it immediately. For the first 6 months, everything was perfect. I waved to neighbors. I kept my lawn pristine. I even volunteered to help with the community garage sale. Then the HOA board changed. The previous president, Mrs. Patterson, was this sweet retired teacher who ran meetings efficiently and fairly. She moved to Florida to be near her grandkids. Enter Gerald Hoffman. Gerald was a 58-year-old retired police sergeant with too much time on his hands and what I can only describe as a pathological need for control. He ran for HOA president unopposed and immediately began changing things. The first sign of trouble came 2 months after Gerald took over. I received a violation notice. My trash cans were visible from the street on a Tuesday afternoon. According to the bylaws, trash cans must be stored out of sight except on collection days, which was Thursday. I had taken my cans out early because I was going to be out of town. I paid the $50 fine and thought nothing of it. Then came violation number 2. My front porch light was too bright and was creating light pollution. I had to replace it with a dimmer bulb. Violation 3, my car was parked in my driveway at an angle. Apparently, all vehicles must be parked parallel to the garage door. I started noticing Gerald walking through the neighborhood every single day with a clipboard, actively looking for violations. He'd take photos, measurements, notes. Other neighbors were getting hit too. Mrs. Chen next door got fined because her rose bushes extended 2 inches past her property line. The Johnsons got cited because their mailbox flag was the wrong shade of red. Then came the emergency HOA meeting in October. I almost didn't go to the meeting. But I saw the agenda item. Proposed security enhancement measures. There were maybe 20 homeowners in the community center that night. Gerald stood at the front with 2 other board members, Linda Marsh and Tom Davidson. Gerald began his presentation. He'd created a PowerPoint, I'm not kidding, about increasing crime in the area. According to Gerald, there had been suspicious activity after dark. Cars driving slowly. People walking at odd hours. He claimed someone's lawn gnome had been stolen. His solution? A neighborhood curfew. For the safety and security of all residents, Gerald announced, we are implementing a policy that prohibits residents from loitering outside their homes between the hours of 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. The room erupted. You can't tell us when we can go outside, someone shouted. Gerald remained calm. This applies only to common areas and front yards. You can still use your backyard. You can still walk to your car to leave the property. But recreational outdoor activity will be restricted during these hours. This is America. Mr. Johnson yelled. You can't impose a curfew. Linda Marsh chimed in, reading from a prepared statement about how the bylaws gave the board authority to implement security measures as they deemed necessary. I raised my hand. What's the actual crime data? How many incidents have there been? Gerald shuffled his papers. The specific numbers are confidential for security reasons, but trust me, it's significant enough to warrant action. Translation: there was no data. The vote happened anyway. Gerald, Linda, and Tom voted yes. It passed 3-0. Board decisions only required board votes, not homeowner votes. The policy would take effect in 1 week. I spent the next week researching HOA law. I consulted with a lawyer friend who confirmed what I suspected. This curfew was legally questionable at best, completely unenforceable at worst. HOAs can't restrict basic freedoms. They can't tell you when you're allowed to exist in your own yard. I emailed the board explaining this. I cited case law. I requested they rescind the policy. Gerald responded with one sentence: the policy stands. Violations will result in fines. Fine. If they wanted to play it this way, I'd call their bluff. On November 3rd, the curfew took effect. On November 3rd at 8:15 p.m., I walked outside to get my mail. My front porch light was on, the dimmer one they'd made me install. I walked down my driveway in jeans and a hoodie, checking my phone, completely casual. That's when I saw them. Gerald's car was parked across the street. He was sitting in the driver's seat with the window down, watching. Linda was in the passenger seat. Tom was standing near my mailbox with his phone out, recording. "Mr. Chen," Gerald called out, getting out of his car. "You're in violation of the security policy." I stopped. "I'm checking my mail, Gerald. It's 8:15 p.m. You're not permitted to be outside. This is my property. The rules apply to all homeowners equally." I opened my mailbox, pulled out my mail, and started walking back to my house. That's when Gerald stepped in front of me. "You need to go inside immediately," Gerald said. "I am going inside. Get out of my way." Linda and Tom had walked over now, forming a semicircle around me. "This is harassment," I said, pulling out my phone. I started recording. "You're physically blocking me from entering my own home." "We're enforcing community standards," Linda said. "You're trespassing on my property," I replied. "All three of you need to leave now." Gerald took a step closer. "We can do this the easy way or the hard way." That's when he grabbed my arm. I jerked back. "Do not touch me." Tom grabbed my other arm. I twisted away, and that's when things got physical. Gerald lunged at me, trying to wrestle my phone away. Linda was shouting something. Tom had his arms around me from behind. I'm not a fighter. But when 3 people are attacking you in your own driveway, instinct kicks in. I elbowed Tom in the ribs hard. He let go. I shoved Gerald backward, and he stumbled into Linda. I broke free and ran toward my front door. Gerald recovered faster than I expected. He tackled me from behind just as I reached my porch. We both went down hard on the concrete. That's when my Ring doorbell captured everything. I managed to throw Gerald off me. My nose was bleeding. My hands were scraped. Gerald's glasses were broken. Linda was screaming. Tom was on the phone with the police. I scrambled inside and locked the door. I was shaking, bleeding, and absolutely furious. I called 911 myself. 2 patrol cars arrived within minutes. The officers separated us. Gerald, Linda, and Tom gave their version. I had assaulted them when they tried to peacefully enforce HOA rules. I gave my version and showed them the Ring footage. The footage was crystal clear. It showed Gerald grabbing me first. It showed all 3 of them surrounding me. It showed Gerald tackling me. The officer watching the footage looked at his partner. That's assault. Gerald started backtracking. He was violating neighborhood rules. You don't have the authority to physically detain someone for an HOA violation, the officer said. You're not law enforcement. I used to be a sergeant. You're not anymore. They arrested all three of them. Battery charges. I was taken to the hospital to document my injuries. Bloody nose, scraped hands, bruised ribs, and a mild concussion. But here's where it gets really interesting. While I was at the hospital, I got a call from another neighbor, Mr. Patterson, the husband of the former HOA president. Marcus, you need to know something, he said. My wife discovered something before we moved. Gerald's been embezzling from the HOA. Mr. Patterson explained everything. Gerald had implemented the curfew as a distraction. He'd been using his position to issue bogus violations to homeowners, collecting thousands in fines that went into a separate account he controlled. The security enhancements he kept talking about? He was planning to hire his brother's security company at inflated prices and split the profits. Mrs. Patterson had found discrepancies in the HOA financial records before she left. She'd reported it to the board, but Gerald, Linda, and Tom had buried it. She'd kept copies of everything. I immediately sent this information to the police and hired a lawyer. Within a week, the authorities had launched a full investigation into the HOA's finances. They found over $45,000 in misappropriated funds. Gerald, Linda, and Tom were hit with additional charges: embezzlement, fraud, and conspiracy. 3 months later, here's where everything stands. Gerald took a plea deal. He's serving 18 months in prison and has to pay full restitution. Linda and Tom got probation and community service. All three are permanently banned from serving on any HOA board. The HOA's insurance settled with me for $75,000 to avoid a lawsuit. I used some of that money to help establish a new board with actual oversight and accountability. The curfew was immediately rescinded. We implemented a new system where any major policy changes require a vote from all homeowners, not just the board. My neighbors threw me a thank you barbecue. Turns out, everyone hated Gerald but felt powerless to stop him. As for me, I still live in Riverside Estates. I go outside whenever I want. I check my mail at midnight if I feel like it. And Gerald's house? It went up for sale last month. Nobody's made an offer yet. If you've ever dealt with a power-hungry HOA, drop a comment below. And remember, always read your bylaws, know your rights, and for the love of God, get a Ring doorbell. This is Marcus Chen, signing off.